how does one know whether or not they have a predisposition? Because those people might want to avoid using something, because our colleague Anna Lemke has said that you can't get addicted to something that you've never done or taken.
Yeah, yes, that is the most helpful advice. So I can never tell you if, in this game of Russian roulette, the bullet will not be in your chamber for sure. I can say like you're less likely for this, more likely for that. But the only way to determine that a substance will not damage your life is to never use it in the first place. There's always going to be some risk. There's been a lot of work on like kind of genotyping to try to figure out, could I tell people, what their genetic risk is for alcohol? And nothing is as good as just saying, your parents alcoholic? Yeah or no? And if they were, that's like the most useful bit of information. Or does problem drinking run in your family? That kind of is crude a question as it is. That's more useful than anything we have from SNPs or anything like that.
Does it cross sex? So like if a daughter has a father who's alcoholic, does it cross sex as readily as it goes from, say, father to son or mother to daughter?
No. I mean, there is still risk there for sure, but the father to son link is the strongest one you see in genetic studies. Now, of course, there's in a sense it's hard, right? Because men drink more than women do. I mean, in our culture anyway, and they drink to excess more than women do anyway, whether they've got an alcohol problem or not. So if you think this is some sort of unfolding process, right, then men carrying risk would be more likely to have that risk realized through the behavior than a woman would, where there's still a fair amount of women who don't drink or drink, hardly any. So it's sort of like the thing if you had all the genetic loading for cocaine in 1800, it didn't matter. There was no cocaine. If you had all the genetic loading for alcohol and you've never drank, then it's really irrelevant.
Women are drinking more or less now?
Women, unfortunately, in the late 90s, early aughts, the alcohol industry figured out that women had more money, but they weren't drinking the way men were. So they engaged in a long-term campaign to try to increase women's drinking. So things like, mommy wine juice and those mommy wine chats online and all that, that was really engineered by them. Even some of the ones that look organic online were engineered by the industry. And it worked. Women's drinking went up a lot. And the damage per drink is more for women for most things than it is for men, partly due to body size, but also partly probably due to some hormonal things. And so it's been, a exploitation, as I see it, of women. And I notice a lot of young women now, like undergraduates I talk to, reevaluating that, like looking at their mom's experience and saying, I don't think I want to do that. And I'm really encouraged by that. Not that I want to control, the decisions we make, but I don't want them making them just because the industry slickly marketed to them, because the industry's sole interest is always going to be to generate profit. And you do that with addiction because, something like, 10% of our country drinks about half the alcohol. So you're shocked. Yeah,
10% of the country drinks half the alcohol?
Right, United States. So if you're running the industry, you want that group to be as big as possible. You do not make money off people who have half a bottle of wine on special occasions. You make your money on the people who drink the equivalent of multiple bottles of wine every single day. So you have fundamentally these industries, the more addiction there is, the better off they do financially.
Wow, there's a lot there. The statistics say that drinking is at an all-time low in the United States right now, at least
some statistics. Yeah.
Some statistics.
Something seems to have changed, and this may have something to do with this new generation. There's less risk behavior in lots of things on over the last 10 years. So less cutting class, less chance of dropping out of high school, fewer unwanted pregnancies, all that stuff. So there is that generation will probably be a drier generation than their parents were.